And we welcome you to Field Hockey with Hatfield. It is our weekly podcast. We'll usually do these probably on Monday night and have them play back late Monday, early Tuesday. We've also got a couple of the podcasts we do on the regular with our friends from Hometown Sports Productions at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex and the Regional Training Center. Thanks to Chuck Thornton, Nick Sinti, Dennis McEwen, and the entire hardworking team for making this all possible for all of you out there, all these sports fanatics and field hockey fans too. And we'll do the football on the Hash with Hatfield. We'll usually drop on Thursdays. And then we have, of course, our 757 Saturday Sports Talk program for all you sports fans local and beyond with my cohort, Coach Ed Young, that'll come your way on Saturdays, generally on a week-to-week basis. But today the theme is field hockey like it is each and every week. And later on the show, we're going to have a special new Hatfield's Top 10 Field Hockey Rankings. You can tell me out there, all you fans, coaches, people that love the sport, why I'm right, why I'm wrong, who you'd flip, who you'd change, who you'd move up and down as we'll go through all that is field hockey in the Hampton Roads area and beyond. We say beyond because if there are fans that want to get involved and teams, players out there outside even the 757 area code, we'll even highlight your teams and players. This is for all of you out there. So get involved. We're always looking for sponsors and supporters of the show to make this thing grow and become something that is special for all of the sports fans, and in this case, for the field hockey fans across the 757. Let's go through some of the key results that took place on Tuesday. As you see on our scroll below me, some of the finals that came in the Beach District. Cox, the 24-time state champs under Coach Taylor Roundtree, a 10-0 shutout of Green Run to move to 2-0. Irma Bailey with 5 goals in that one. First Colonial was humming there, an 8-0 victory over Lancetown. They have a blemish this year, but certainly they've played a tough schedule. And Sydney Ragruni with a couple of goals leading the way for their program over there, over at Princess Anne, as they got the win. That's actually a little bit of a error, so we'll actually get that corrected for the scores. But you look at FC Princess Anne, they're looking like factors. Gloucester, the big surprise, I should say, is the result was their win over Nansemond River 4-1, and Gloucester now has scored double-digit goals 4 times this year, I think it is. They have had a really potent offense. Watch out for them. Coming up in a little bit, we'll have interviews with 2 of the standouts from Tuesday's game at the Regional Training Center, and that was the Kellam Knights, a winner over the Kempsville Chiefs 4-1 as they actually won that game 7-1. 4 goals from Ellis Cannon. Malena Magnano also had a big performance for them with a couple of goals, a couple of assists, and we caught up with Malena Magnano, the Liberty commit by way of Argentina to the United States, was hurt last year. You'll hear from her as well as Coach Nicole Morgan as the Knights got their first one of the season after a couple of tough losses in terms of the district schedule, out-of-district schedule. They did run into First Colonial, had a couple of games, Western Branch, and a private school on that slate as well. 4 goals for Ella Elliott as Menchville beat Warwick 10-0. Very impressive performance for them in that game. Lily Krikorian, shout out to her with a goal. She's the daughter of Christopher Newport University men's basketball coach John Krikorian, who led the CNU captain's basketball team to a national championship this past year, Division III ranks. So there you go. And a couple of private school scores of note. Walsingham 6-0 over Nansemond Suffolk Academy. Norfolk Collegiate doubling up Stewart 4-2 as they had 4 different goal scorers. But early on right now, you have your stalwarts that have kind of nudged ahead as heavy favorites. You look at Norfolk Academy on the private school side of things there. Out of the TCIS, you look at Cox in Class 5. Will they get tested? We shall see as we move things along with the schedule, and you see some of the games coming up on the slate for these teams. But it's going to be very hard to beat those teams. And then you look at some teams in the background. Great Bridge, who's now moving into Class 5 this year after winning a trio of Class 4 state championships. You look at, obviously, Gloucester with the noise they're making now, looking like a threat there in Class 4. as they drop down. There's some teams that are certainly off to great starts, and we'll highlight that coming up in our top 10. Wanted to get out there as well. We did miss at the end of last week's show, our preview show. We apologize about it. We did have on Beanie Schleicher, who's now a field hockey official, former longtime coach in the area at First Colonial. Maury won some state championships at FC. And Scotty Tyson, who is the head of organizing the officials and getting all of that out there for everybody. We did have them on, and they've dropped a lot of knowledge and insight. But our last segment, we do apologize, got muted. So to kind of recap, as I was going through the district's favorites, top challengers, and they were chiming in with their opinions on it, we'll kind of quickly recap that before we take a break and get to our interviews with Nicole Morgan of Kellam and Malena Magnano of the Knights as well. Beach District, I labeled Cox as the favorite, prohibited favorite, with First Colonial and Kellam as the top challengers. Princess Anne as a sleeper dark horse to watch out for. They tended to occur on that. Eastern District, I don't think we have as many championship level teams in that district this year, but I kind of picked Maury by default. I think they'll be the one that is most likely to make a mini push in the playoffs out of Region 5B. And the Southeastern District labeled Great Bridge, who's won 3 consecutive state titles, as the favorite in that district with, actually, I think I labeled Nansman River as the favorite. Take that back. I think I labeled Nansman as the favorite with Great Bridge as kind of a co-favorite there. Top challenger, Western Branch lurking in the background as the third team in that district. And in the Peninsula District, I made Gloucester the favorite with the top challenger being Menchville. Bay Rivers, it's a 4-team race there with Tab, Pecos, and York Grafton. Pick a card, any card. I think I gave Tab the early nod because they have made the deepest push in the postseason as of late. And the Tigers certainly getting it done there with Coach Wendy Wilson, 2-time defending Class 3 state champs, 46-0 the past couple of years. So there you had it. On the private school side of things, I had Norfolk Academy number 1, Cape Henry, who won the VISAA state title number 2, but Beanie chimed in and said, not so fast, my friend Matt. Look at Catholic as the team to maybe be the top challenger if there's going to be one. And we shall see in the first installment of my top 10 where they fall in at. So we want to get all the players and the coaches and fans out there to interact, comment on our stream on the Virginia Beach Sportsplex YouTube channel. Let us know what you think as we give you all kinds of updates across the 757 when it comes to field hockey this season. So we do appreciate everybody chiming in on that, and let us know, like, share, and subscribe. And we are fixing as we speak the ticker that was incorrect for the scores on Tuesday as it now comes across there. Bayside went over Tallwood to see Cox beat Green Run. I misspoke earlier saying First Colonial defeated Lansdowne. It was Princess Anne with Sydney Raguni, who was one of those players to watch out for without a doubt this year in terms of goal scoring and a lot of talent. So there you have it. Again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Let us know what you think, what you want us to cover in terms of field hockey, who you want us to have on the show. And we'll tell you about a little more coming up for next week's episode, what we're working on, planning to have here for all of you as we move it along here with field hockey with Hatfield. We're going to take a quick timeout, and then you will hear when we come back from Coach Nicole Morgan of Kellam, who got that big win over Kempsville by a count of 7-1 on Tuesday at the Regional Training Center. We'll also come back and tell you what's on deck as far as some of the key games on the docket for next week to watch out for. It is Field Hockey with Hatfield on this Wednesday edition. Again, we'll probably be coming your way usually on the regular when it comes to Field Hockey podcasts around Monday night into Tuesday morning. Get you all set for the big matchups that you have on Tuesday on the weekly basis as we have the march to the playoffs in November. But let's now take a timeout and hear from AstroTurf.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
Oh, do you dig that music? If you don't and you have a music choice that you like for us to play, of course, it's got to be with permission of the artist out there, or you have a tune that you've created out there. You're your own individual aspiring artist. Send it our way. Again, if you want to do that, you can do it via email to us. Make sure we have permission and we'll play it on the podcast. But again, it's got to be original music, or the permission of the artist has to be given for us to do all of that for you. It is Field Hockey with Hatfield. And also, as you see on our screen before we get to our interviews with Malena Magnano and Nicole Morgan, you've got a Player of the Week nominee or stats of any stand-up performers you'd like to share for the show. Drop us an email at hatfieldsports@gmail.com. We'd love to get that out there. We are beginning with our football. The Chicho's Pizza Player of the Week was awarded to Alkendrick Overton of Nansman River. We'll tell you more about that on the Hash with Hatfield coming up. But again, thanks to all those making this possible. You just saw during our break, one of those sponsors being One Life Fitness, One Inspire Life. They're here to help you start your new membership today at any one of the 8 convenient locations across Hampton Roads. Go online to onelifefitness.com and claim a free trial pass for that. So there you have it. Let's hear from the standout for the Kellam Knights. She had a bunch of goals as a sophomore. She's headed to Liberty to play at the next level, and we're talking about Malena Magnano after the 7-1 victory over Kempsville. Here's what she had to tell us at the Regional Training Center after the win on Tuesday. All right, I'm here with Kellam senior Malena Magnano. A couple of goals today, I believe, as the Knights won it by a count of 7-1 over Kempsville. First one of the season, Malena, after last year getting to the state tournament for this program. How's it feel to get the first one of the season? I know you played some tough out-of-conference opponents coming into today.
We're really happy as a team. We've been working really hard for this, and I think we deserve it.
Now, you've been certainly noted nationally. You came to the U.S. from Argentina, correct?
Yes.
Tell us about just that adjustment a couple of years ago before you took the Beach District by storm with, I think it was 20 goals and 7 assists as a sophomore.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's a hard experience. Well, it's nice to have these people, my coach, Nicole Morgan, and my teammates that are always like there. If you need anything, of course, you meet family, friends, but it's a really good experience, and I really recommend it.
Awesome. What do you love most about playing field hockey, A, and then what do you love most about playing at Kellam?
I love my teammates. I think that they support me in hard moments, and in the good moments, we are cheer for each other, and that's great. And what I think about Kellam, I love the high school. Everybody opened the doors for me and was real supportive. Tell
me about this test today against Kempsville. They came in, having won their first game. I know you all had a couple of tough losses, but you and Ellis Cannon were a dynamic duo out there today.
Yeah, we're really happy for the first win. I think that we've been working hard as a team. It's me and Ellis plus everybody because we are a team again. Yeah.
What do you think your strengths are as a player in field hockey? For those that haven't watched you play that might check out Kellam this year, what would you kind of tell the audience out there you do best out there on the pitch?
I think I got good skills. I'm forward since I'm born, basically. And, yeah, I really enjoy playing defender, scoring goals.
Sure. Last two for you. Appreciate your time. What are you improving on most in your own craft? And then this team, what are you all trying to get better as a group to be a threat come playoff time?
For myself, I'm working on my defense. Sometimes it's hard to go back to the ball for me. But, yeah, we're working on it, and I'm having good advices from my coaching staff. And then as a team, we're working on, we're doing a lot of bonding, and we're supporting each other. We're a new team. We're a really new team, and we're getting a lot of benefits from it. Everybody's, learning stuff, but I think that the freshmen are getting into the team right now, and we're having so much fun together.
Yeah, incorporating some new ninth graders who are making their presence felt. And lastly, tell me, too, Malena, in the Beach District, it's so competitive with Cox, which has won a state championship, and First Colonial. You all at Kellam moving down from Class 6 to Class 5 this year. What's that like, and just how excited you are for some of the big rivalry games that are coming up on the schedule?
I'm really excited. I think that Cox and FC is one of our toughest opponents, but I think that we're working hard and we'll get there.
Watch out for absolutely. Thank you so much. Watch out for number 7, Malena Magnano of the Kellam Knights, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good job. So that was Kellam's Malena Magnano as the Knights got it done 7-1 over the Kempsville Chiefs, and a very impressive performance from her. Also, her teammate Ellis Cannon with 4 goals. They've had some injuries that have affected them, but coming off these shutout losses to First Colonial 2-0 back on September the 6th, and the 3-0 loss to Western Branch just 4 days prior, have to be pleased to get in that win column as they move down from Class 6 a year ago to Class 5. Have some key games coming up at Great Bridge later in the month. Will be a tricky one. Norfolk Academy in a tournament event. That'll be a big showcase matchup. And then their final 2 regular season games against Cox and Nansman River, 2 teams that met in the Class 5 state championship just a season ago. Well, Nicole Morgan has done a splendid job over at Kellam in her 5th year, came over from Princess Anne in this program after making the state tournament a season ago. Expectations remaining high for them, and we caught up with her as well at the Regional Training Center after that win to get her thoughts on the team. And let's give that a listen with Coach Morgan from Tuesday following the victory over Kempsville. All right, here with Kellam head coach Nicole Morgan of the Knights as their field hockey team got a big victory today, 7-1 over the Kempsville Chiefs. Her 5th year at the helm, and coach now 1-3 in the campaign because you had 3 tough games with First Colonial, with Western Branch, and with Cary Christian to start. But you had to be really pleased with how the team came out right out of the bat. Ellis Cannon, I think, had your first couple of goals just about 6-7 minutes in, and the team was locked in.
Yeah, they were locked in from the start. Like you said, we had a little slow start to the season. We have 2 seniors that are out with injuries right now, which was a huge loss. They're still a huge asset to a team. If you watch the game today, one of them actually, they both tore their ACLs. One's on a next step up because she had her surgery back in the spring, but she actually took a stroke during the game today as well. So still keeping them part of the team, keeping them bonded. But with the loss of those 2, we are really young coming in and just trying to get everybody on the same page. We know that the skill level and the game understanding isn't there 100% for every player, but the older players like Malena and Ellis and those that do have the experience are really stepping up as leaders, trying to guide them in the right path, and then just trying to get them bonded and having fun no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. And I believe that one took the stroke for you. Pisterman, she's a key cog for you. Let's talk about Ellis Cannon a little bit more, what she brings your team, and also Malena Magnano. I know she was hurt a year ago, came from Argentina, had the big sophomore season with the 20 goals and almost 10 assists, and they were really dynamic together and a lot of times worked in tandem as you got close to the shooter circle and put one through the net today.
Yeah, no, the 2 of them are awesome. We actually have like a competition committee that's one of our like leadership groups within the team, and those 2 are the 2 players that were voted for that. So they bring out a good competition amongst themselves, but they're also really strong in when they feel the pressure that one needs to perform. They do a great job of working off of each other. And as you said, on the field, they find each other really well. They have the skill, but they also are really confident and trusting in their teammates to work the ball around to them as well.
Certainly the injuries can, rear its ugly head, and it's affected your start of the season, but you brought back some all-state performers. I believe Lily Turner was one of them for you as well.
Lily's one with the injury. She tore
right?
ACL,
yeah, but you also had a second-team all-state performer. I'm drawing a blank. Was a 9th grader last year.
Ellis.
Yeah, Carly Ellis. I mean, so you have some pieces there, or components there. Do you feel like as you drop down into Class 5 this year, where you have Cox and Epps and those teams, that this team can make a run because of last year's success making the state tournament?
Yeah, I think no matter what, I always said Kellam, we're a grit is one of our key terms and phrases we like to use for the team to describe how we fight and compete no matter what. So early season, we know that all of our kids don't play club. They're not always having a stick in their hand. I like my players to play other sports. So a lot of them are playing lacrosse or soccer in the spring, but those elements bring an asset to the field of field hockey when they're being competitive every time they're stepping on the field. So the beginning of the season is more working on fundamentals and getting them used to the stick and the different rules of field hockey, but that competitive nature that comes from other sports come postseason is something that you can't get rid of.
I've heard of some other coaches. We actually talked about this with Scotty and Beanie on our first podcast about the COVID year. And you're obviously in your 5th year at Kellam. You were at Princess Anne before that, getting the JV players and some of the freshmen acclimated. Have you sensed that it's taken a little bit longer, that acceleration process for some of the girls as they go into the high school ranks and they play the varsity level with that speed and so forth? Or?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think like the sophomores I have on my team this year, they didn't play any middle school hockey. So for them, that's 2 years that are really pivotal in just even understanding the rules of the game. So a lot of the freshmen, sophomores I have right now, it's still, unless they were a part of a club team prior to or had another family members that have played hockey, like they're still trying to understand the rules because field hockey has a lot of rules. So even just understanding the rules of the game are lost in those early stages, whereas other schools have players that are playing more club. So unless you were really playing club and haven't been introduced to the sport. So it does make it a little bit harder. And there's a little bit of a gap right now that we're missing, but they're quickly picking up. And I think you'll find that in the next probably 4 or 5 years moving into the high school season with this now freshman, sophomore class, or the 6th, 7th grade, when they come up to high school, I think it's going to open the floodgates to have better hockey of what we used to have.
A couple more for you, let you run. What do you like most about this group right now? And you feel like your identity or strength as a squad is? And certainly there's some similarities with your team and other contenders in Region 5A across the Beach District. But what do you like most about this particular group here in 23-24?
I think, as Malena said before, they love each other. And there's nothing, honestly, like there's been tests and trials. We've had 3 losses, but they still every single day find some way to come out, bring the energy. They pump each other up. They lift each other up when they're doing
when they're having a bad day, they communicate. Today was our Morgan's Message game, which is all about mental health and making sure everybody's on the right page. And that's what they do, a great job of communicating with each other. And that's something we can't take away.
Can a win like this, 7-1 over Kempsville, we know Amber Jones is a good program over there with the Chiefs, can it be a springboard towards what's ahead for you, district, even some out-of-conference, out-of-district games that you have as you get jockeying for the playoffs, which will be here before you know it? I know it's only September, but it comes up on you quick.
It does come up really fast. I think for me, like a game like this, and like you said, Amber's a great coach. I've coached her and coached with her multiple times. She's awesome. She does the same thing of bringing a bond within the team, so not taking that away, but having early goals allows more freedom in the subbing rotation, getting players on the field that typically wouldn't in those tougher games, and giving them an option to get on the field and giving them opportunities to fail in a game situation, in that stressful situation, to learn how to handle that and handle the pressure and even understand the movement a little bit more than what we can do at practice.
Let's experiment some, right? Mm-hmm. For sure. Well, all the best. Thank you so much, Nicole Morgan. The Knights should be a team to watch out for this year, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much.
So that was great to hear from Nicole Morgan, head coach of the Kellam Knights, as they got that win 7-1 over Kempsville on Tuesday at the Regional Training Center in Virginia Beach, September the 12th. It is Field Hockey with Hatfield, our weekly podcast. As always, like, subscribe, share on our YouTube channel. Comment to us on our Virginia Beach Sportsplex and Regional Training Center Facebook pages what you'd like to see, who you'd like to see us have on the show, and all kinds of that good stuff with our social media audience. We appreciate you all out there for tuning in. And Kellam, part of that 14-team region in Class 5, Region A, where you have the defending state champs and the Cox Falcons. You also have First Colonial, a traditional power. They got themselves a nice 6-0 victory over Western Branch on Monday with a couple of goals from Riley Brooks Booth and Grace Dixon, who was a big-time talent for them. You also have out of the Beach District Bayside, and you have we'll go with Kellam, Coxton, First Colonial. You have Green Run, Kempsville, Ocean Lakes, Princess Anne, Salem, Tallwood. Then you have 4 Chesapeake schools from the Southeastern District and Deep Creek, Great Bridge, who's won the last 3 state championships at the Class 4 level, Hickory and Indian River. So how they seed them for the 18 tournament will be very interesting, because you have about 5 or 6 really good teams, but we all know who the team to beat is. It's Cox. Is Cox number 1 in my first top 10 of the season? Well, you'll have to find out in our next segment of the show. It's coming your way here in just a bit. But we also want to say that we're working on getting someone involved with USA Field Hockey. Taryn Galloway and company do an outstanding job with that. The national team has got a series going on with Canada. I know they won their first game, and they've got the Pan Am games. And so we're efforting that for either next week's show or perhaps after that, as we'll be giving you some field hockey flavor from a national and global perspective. And, of course, we have so many players that have come from the 757 that have thrived at the next level collegiately and professionally. And the training center, if you haven't been over there to Virginia Beach's training center right there by the Sportsplex, as you see that in my background, where a lot of football, soccer, lacrosse takes place. Big football matchup with Atlantic Shores on Friday night against North Cross. But go out there to the training center if you have not, because you're in for a treat. If you're a fan of field hockey, if you're new to the sport, don't know a whole lot about it, go out there and get educated, watch it. You'll see some outstanding athletes compete on a regular basis throughout the summertime with USA Field Hockey and with Nexus and some of those events. And then through the high school season, you see some great talents over there as well. Well, one of our sponsors, where you can get a customizable and individually packaged meal for your convenience. They have a wide variety of salads and soups. It's our good friends at Zoop Eatery. We hear from them now as we take a time out before coming back for our final segment on this edition of the Field Hockey Podcast with Hatfield.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Okay, who here has reached peak fall?
Peak what?
Peak fall!
I am wearing plaid.
And I'm wearing a cardigan.
I guess I am eating snickerdoodle cookie dough.
And I am eating a pumpkin pie blizzard.
The new DQ Fall Blizzard menu has reached peak fall. Pumpkin pie, snickerdoodle cookie dough, and more. They are back!
I just love fall.
Apparently we all do.
Oh, they did it! Peak fall achieved! DQ, happy tastes good.
And we're back with you on this final segment of Field Hockey with Hatfield, our weekly field hockey podcast, getting you caught up on what's taking place in the 7-5-7 and beyond. So make sure you tune in, tell your friends, tell your field hockey neighbors out there, and those that are novices, follow the sport closely, diehards. We have all kinds of fans out there, so we appreciate you tuning in. All right, it is time now for me to unveil the first Hatfield Top 10 for field hockey for 2023, just involving the teams from Hampton Roads. I worked diligently on this. I looked at a lot of different standings and records and some results that may not be exactly accurate. And these are the records going into September 13th. So if you're out there and you know that a record is wrong, we want to hear from you. Give us that information like you saw earlier on our screen, and it'll flash up there now, I know. We want you to reach out to us. If you have stats, if you have some info out there we want to throw our way, make sure you drop us that nugget, that email to us, and we want to get that out there for the audience out there. If someone has a hat trick, hey, put this out there. This player had a big performance. Let us know. We'll throw it out there to the listeners out there, to fans that follow the sport. I know Joji Purdy had her second hat trick of the season for Norfolk Academy in that 4-1 win over First Colonial not too long ago. She's been terrific. Reese Miller at Gloucester's been getting goals left and right. I think she had a 4-goal, 2-assist game in one of their big wins, and they just beat Nansman River. So let us know who out there is getting it done, and we'll shout them out for sure here on the podcast. All right, let's do it. Now we've got to throw it out there. We've been stalling it long enough. Let's throw it out there to the fans who the top 10 is. We mentioned who's number one. Is it Cox? Is it Norfolk Academy? Well, here it is on the screen. Voila, we're going with Norfolk Academy, number one in the top 10, 2-0 or 2-0 record for Coach Mary Werkheiser's team. They've been just terrific. We know they have championship aspirations. They'll take on all comers. I think they're a nationally ranked program this year. So many weapons. Purdy certainly the one that stands out as they got that 4-1 win over First Colonial. Number two, it is Cox. I know that might be taken as a disrespect to them. It shouldn't be, because they can easily be one. It's almost a 1A, 1B with them in Norfolk Academy. We know what Tedda Roundtree's got there with her program. They had a few years ago. Zella Bailey, now it's Irma Bailey with 5 goals. And just so many different standouts step up for them time after time. Looking forward to seeing them next week. They're taking on Bayside as Cox coming up on the 19th of September over there at the Plex at the Regional Training Center. So go check them out. Part of a double dip you got on both fields, Bayside and Cox, Tallwood and Lancetown squaring off. So if you want to see one of the very best in the nation year after year after year, 24-time state champion Cox, who's going for the four-peat, will be in action. Number three, and I feel like they've probably established themselves as a solid number three, but the team at number four now, which is, I think, gaining steam, could certainly challenge. Great Bridge is number three. Like what I've seen from the Wildcats, it's early, but no blemishes yet. I think they're the cream of the crop in the Southeastern. Nansman River was looking like that until their blemish to Gloucester. So I think you put Gloucester at number four. The double-digit goals 4 times is really impressive to me. I got to put them in the 4 slot. Number 5 is First Colonial. 3-1 mark, did lose to Norfolk Academy. No shame in that for that program. As we mentioned, Brooks Booth, you got Grace Dixon, a lot of talent over there. 3-1, hard to put them much lower and not exactly higher just yet. They'll certainly get a chance when they go up against their rival in Cox. Still got to play Kellam and PA out of the beach. So there are some tests that await them. Number 6 is Nansman River. And though they have the loss, the Warriors made the state championship a season ago. That nucleus is back for them. Did beat Western Branch, did beat Menchville, so they got a couple of quality wins under their belt. They're deserving of the number 6 slot. Number 7, I'm going to go with Tab, 4-0 record. I like what the Tigers have going. They did graduate a bunch of pieces from a season ago, but Coach Wilson knows what she's doing over there. I think this team is as good as advertised, maybe a little better than advertised. I think some might be sleeping on them, and I feel like they're right there. Number 8, I'm going with Poquoson, 4-0 for them. The Islanders, they've beaten Grafton, Western Branch, and Menchville already. I think they're pretty sneaky good. They don't have the enrollment of some other schools out there, but they should make another deep run and perhaps in the Class 3 tournament. We'll see if they have that one or two standout players. We know that Mika Hilberger for TAB, second leading scorer last year, certainly one of those big names over there for TAB. Who's going to be that player perhaps for Poquoson? I know in their recent win over Menchville, a couple of goals from Elizabeth Trant. Maybe she's the one that's going to step up and be that marquee player for them, if you will. So Poquoson's 8. Could certainly make a case to flip-flop them and TAB. I'm going to put number 9, surprise some here on this one. And Beanie Schleicher told me last week, watch out for them, Catholic. 28-2 goals scored and goals allowed, plus 26 in the margin there. I like their schedule here. I think they're going to get tested. I think Catholic is a program on the rise over there. Keep an eye peeled for them at 5-0. I think they might be a little underrated to some out there. And number 10, it really could flip a coin in a lot of different directions. There's some teams I left out. From Western Branch to Kellam to Menchville to Cape Henry. But I went with Grafton at 3-2. Their losses were by 2 to Great Bridge, 1 to Poquoson. So I don't feel like those are bad losses for Grafton. I think they're going to be right there in the end and in the mix come tournament time. And I feel like that Bay Rivers is maybe, you can make a case Beach and Southeastern are your top 2 districts, but I think the Bay Rivers might have as many competitive games with some of those schools over there as just about anybody. So got to the state quarters a year ago, Class 4. I'm not necessarily throwing them a bone as much as I think they're pretty darn good and worthy of that consideration. So there you have it. Players of the week. Make sure you send them in to us via email. Send in your stats as we highlighted, and you see the top 10 flashing across the bottom of your screen as we go in order. Again, Norfolk Academy, Cox, Great Bridge, Gloucester, First Colonial, and then 6 through 10 features Nansemond River, TAB, Poquoson, Catholic, and Grafton. 5 programs that are pretty darn good. Didn't make the top 5. They made 6 through 10. And they're a collective 20-3. So very good depth of talent there across the region when it comes to the field hockey scene. So there you have it. That's going to close out, I think, our first installment of the season, if you will, as far as beyond the preview. We thank Scotty and Beanie for hopping on last week. We'll hopefully get another guest on the show, catch up with one of the standout players and coaches as well, and highlight more of the field hockey action across the 757 and beyond. Again, reach out to us, like, share, and subscribe. Comment what you want to see, what you want me to shut up about and not bring up, what you want me to talk more about. We definitely want to get your involvement with the show here on a regular basis. So that's going to do it for this edition. It is Field Hockey with Hatfield, and we thank you for tuning in, and we'll do it again next time. Enjoy your sports week, everyone.